Hello, my name is Grant, and I will be giving a run-through of Pedro Gametto's PTSD Elderly War Veterans, a clinical controlled pilot study. PTSD affects 20% of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, or 1 in 5, and 30%, or 1 in 3, of Vietnam veterans. The researchers of the study saw this and wanted to know, does virtual reality exposure therapy decrease depression, anxiety, or PTSD symptom severity scores when compared to exposure imagination therapy or a waitlist or control group? To study this, researchers recruited elderly war veterans diagnosed with PTSD and separated them into three distinct groups: the virtual reality exposure therapy group, the exposure imagination therapy group, or the control or waitlist group. Therapy consisted of 12 sessions. Both exposure imagination therapy and the virtual reality therapy were supposed to imagine and experience the same scenario, which was the participant was in a jungle situation following a line of soldiers. This environment was closest to what the veterans actually experienced in their line of service. Now, while following the soldiers, three conditions could occur. The first possible condition, meant to be the least stimulating, was called the ambush condition, which the line of soldiers came under enemy gunfire with sounds and bullet traces from numerous directions. The second condition, meant to be the more stimulating condition, consisted of the line of soldiers coming under mortar fire with explosions and debris flying all around them and into the participants. The final condition, meant to be the most intense and most stimulating, was the participant standing next to an injured friendly soldier and waiting until a helicopter came to evacuate them. Now, all these conditions explained were spread out and mixed together over the 12 sessions. Early sessions consisted of just ambush conditions, where the participant would come under enemy gunfire. Sessions near the middle of the 12 treatments had ambush and mortar fire mixed together, so you would be under gunfire and as well as explosions. The final sessions consisted of the evacuation with both enemy gunfire and explosions. So, after analyzing all groups pre and post treatment, virtual reality exposure treatment, shown in blue, had significantly lower depressive score reports in post treatment compared to exposure imagination group, shown in green, and the waitlist control group, shown in brown. The virtual reality exposure treatment group also had significantly lower reports of anxiety scores compared to the imagination and the control group. This is shown with the pre-treatment measurement of anxiety scores in the first column, mid-treatment measure of anxiety scores in the second column, and post-treatment anxiety scores in the last column. But virtual reality exposure therapy was only equally effective as the imagination group at lowering PTSD symptom severity scores. Overall, in conclusion, the researchers said that the virtual reality exposure therapy showed to be potentially effective at treating elderly veterans suffering from PTSD, and that future research in this topic should be conducted, possibly focusing on the neurological measurements as well as the current measurements shown. Their focus was on contributing to the treatment of the suffering of vets. Thank you for watching.